I will call the meeting to order. Before we get started, let's introduce everyone on this meeting. I'm Sandy Brock. When I call your name, please confirm that you can hear me by verifying that you are present. We'll start with the commissioners. Travis,
Here.
Jonathan,
Present.
very good. Amira,
Present.
Noah,
Present.
and we'll go staff. Leah
I'm here.
and Jan.
Present.
Very good. This open meeting of the Conservation Commission is being conducted remotely via Zoom pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12th, 2020 order, as most recently extended on March 28th, 2025. Access information for the public has been provided on the town website. The meeting is being recorded. Please remember to mute your phone on your computer or your computer when you are not speaking. This is done on the phone by pressing *6. As chair, I will introduce each speaker on the agenda. Please note that you will not have screen sharing privileges, but staff can display any visuals per your cue. During periods of public comment, participants must use the raise hand icon in the Zoom menu bar to indicate they would like to speak. This is done on the phone by pressing *9 and then *6 to unmute when you are called on. Participants who raise their hand will be recognized one at a time and will be promoted to speak. Finally, each vote will be conducted by a roll call vote. As a reminder, the Commission is concerned with state and town wetlands and stormwater regulations. Concerns outside the purview need to be addressed to appropriate boards. For example, road conditions must be addressed with the Select Board, and traffic concerns must be addressed with the Planning Board. All right. I see that you switched up the times here. Very good. Anything to do in 2 minutes, or should we just wait for the 7:05 hearing?
Minutes and the annual town report might fit.
Okay, so let's start with the minutes. Has everyone had a chance to look at it? And I'll put it out there and go around very quickly. Does anyone have any comments or questions? Jonathan,
No comments, no questions on the minutes.
Travis,
No comments.
Amira,
No comments or questions.
Noah.
Nothing from me.
I also did not have any comments. Do I have a motion?
I'll move to approve the meeting minutes from January 6, 2026.
Second.
And we have a motion and a second. Roll call vote. Jonathan, you're on the screen, so you get to go first.
Yes.
Noah,
Yes.
Amira,
Yes.
and Travis.
Yes.
I am also a yes. The motion carries unanimously. Okay, so next one. Hope everyone had a chance to read the annual town report. Leah, do you have anything to say up front about this?
No, it was due the end of January, so it has been submitted, but if anyone has any tweaks they wanted, I'm sure it probably is not with the publisher yet, so just let me know.
Okay. I did take a quick scan of it. I don't know the numbers off the top of my head, but this all seems similar to what we've done in the past. So I don't have any issues with it. Quick checking with the commissioners. Noah.
Nothing from me.
Yeah. Amira.
Nothing.
Travis.
Nope, nothing for me.
And Jonathan.
From me.
Yeah. And I had nothing. So, uh, you know, if it's all set, thank you very much, Leah, for getting that done. Look
No
at that. It's
problem.
7:05. All right. So we'll get into public hearings. Okay. So pursuant to the Massachusetts Wetlands Protection Act and the Grafton Wetlands Protection Bylaw, Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing to act upon a notice of intent application for a Grafton Wetlands Bylaw permit for the construction of a single-family house at 21 Meadowbrook Road. Leah, do you have anything to start off the public hearing or any comments? Or if not, I'll switch right to the applicant.
No, they can start. That's fine.
Sure, great. So the applicant is here. If you want to unmute yourself, the floor is yours. You can just kind of go through what you're doing with 21 Meadowbrook, and I know you have a little bit of history. The floor is yours.
All right. Good evening, everybody. Sandra, Jonathan, good to see you again. I think it's been about 4 years since we were last together on here.
Could
Leah,
you just, I'm sorry, I should have said this up front, name and address, just for the record.
James Conkey, property owner of 21 Meadowbrook Road in Grafton.
Thank you very much. Sorry about that.
Not a problem. Um, Rest of you, nice to meet you. To be honest, I was expecting Bob to be on the call this evening, but I'll go ahead and present the project regardless. So we have resubmitted. There's a little history on the project here. We first filed back in 2020 with the intent to reclassify the small stream that runs through the front part of the property where the driveway crossing will be located as an intermittent stream. It had previously been reclassified as such. We've not had a year with weather conducive to that reclassification over the last several years, so we have changed up the plans to adjust the intermittent stream classification to the perennial stream as it's currently mapped, and we've adjusted the site plans to meet all of the regulations of the Riverfront Act accordingly. I know. So Bob Murphy, who is my wetland scientist and land planner, has met a couple times with Jan, I believe, in the last couple of weeks. I met with Jan and Leah in 2025 to go over all of the items that needed to be adjusted to meet the intent of the Riverfront Act and meet all said regulations. So we've resubmitted, and I believe at this point the plans reflect all of the requirements to proceed with construction on the property following issuance of NOI.
Sure. So thank you for that introduction. Leah, you want to just kind of go through your report to date and a little bit of the history, and then we can check around with the commission.
Sure. Um, so this property had a filing in 2020, as Mr. Conkey mentioned, to say the stream was intermittent at the time, or they were trying to say that the stream was intermittent at the time. That has been withdrawn, so this is its own filing, new DEP number and everything. We are waiting on that DEP number, so we don't have comments there just yet. This is within the ACEC in town, but wetland impacts are allowed in the ACEC if it's a limited project. They are filing as a limited project. I have the citation here somewhere. 310 CMR 10533E, which is the provision to allow a driveway to cross in order to construct a house on the upland on the site. We have engaged Ecotech for peer review, but nothing can be confirmed till we have snow melt, so that is on hold. I also talked to the Board of Health. They said that soil testing was done back in 2020. Those approvals were then voided because it was found that the testing was done in the wetlands. More testing was submitted about a month after that voided approval, but that's as far as the Board of Health records go. So I don't think they have an approved septic and well plan on file with the Board of Health. Other than those items for background, the list of issues or items to be addressed are really more for Bob Murphy's response, and he's not here. But
I'm here.
Okay, you just joined us.
Yes, I'm here.
So I mean, I'll list some off for the commission. Sandy, do you want me to go like one at a time? Do you want me to pause now if anyone has any questions first? How do you want to handle this?
Why don't you go one at a time? Actually, no, why don't you go through them first so everyone kind of sees what they are, and then we can go back and hit each one if the different commissioners have any comments on it, and give an opportunity for the applicant and their consultant to respond to that. So just kind of go through all of them and
Okay,
yeah.
sure. So the delineation that's being used on this plan is the same delineation from 2020. It's just that the stream is labeled as perennial. So I brought this to their attention because that would be an expired delineation. So it needs to be updated or rechecked or verified if it really hasn't changed. In response to that, the applicant submitted Title V soil logs, which is not what we're looking for. We also need when the delineation is revised, we'll need to double check and make sure they still meet our contiguous upland requirement as well, but I don't have solid numbers to do that right now. The stream crossing standards need to be addressed. Sheet 2 of the plans has a little bit of detail to that regard, but that's another thing that will be checked by Ecotech. I gave another citation from the regulations, 310 CMR 10.58 4D, which is the section of the regulations that talk about the amount of disturbance or development allowed in the riverfront area, and I asked them to address those provisions. However, we don't have clear riverfront impact numbers. The numbers change between the plans and the NOI and the narrative, so I don't know what the real numbers are. And that citation I gave is where the act talks about that you're allowed 10% or 5,000 square feet of disturbance in the riverfront area, whichever is greater. So it's hard to do that math not knowing the concrete numbers. They're also hinging on the limited project status in order to exceed those numbers, but some of the numbers they're giving very significantly exceed those numbers. So that's a conversation the commission is going to need to have as well. From here on out, it's smaller things, questions we've raised or exercises we've asked them to go through with the plans, such as there's that dark rectangle north of the proposed culvert that we were asking what that is. It's now labeled as a footbridge, but I don't know if it's existing, proposed, is it going to be removed? The plans talk about native vegetation will be promoted within the no disturb. And we asked what that really means. They added a note that says existing native trees and shrubs are to remain undisturbed in the no disturb. But then we asked, are they proposing plantings to supplement what's already there? That has not been addressed. There was a polygon on the plans that previously was labeled brush. That label has been changed to field when we asked what it was. Again, is that existing? Is it proposed to stay that way? We need details for their proposed native grass plantings. What species, where, how much? They're proposing a no disturb barrier behind the house. We asked for that to extend to the property line. The revised line now goes off through the woods. We asked for their maximum groundwater elevations and dates that those measurements were taken. They added data again from 2020 to the plans, but that would be outdated. The limit of disturbance line also needs adjustment to the true limit of disturbance. It was previously shown cutting through the house and the driveway. That part has been revised, but there's still erosion control and a no disturb barrier outside the limit of disturbance. Erosion control is proposed within the BVW and it should be moved to the edge of it. They have not addressed that. We asked about a dewatering plan for work that's going to occur within the perennial stream. Sheet 2 talks about their temporary 12-inch PVC as a bypass structure, but means and methods are not given. We also asked if the utility line is staying overhead or if it's going to be buried entering the property and how it will span the culvert. They did add the detail on sheet 2 where they show the culvert detail. It does show it as now buried. Some new comments that arose from the revised packet they submitted. The well is now shown off in the woods. Again, they do not, to my knowledge, have approval from the Board of Health. There's new red dashed lines that we're not sure what those are for. And the unaltered oval shape between the house and the septic system, it's still not exactly clear if that's just an area they don't intend to disturb at all. It's going to need some kind of protection to make sure that happens during construction. Other than that, I gave the finding for you guys about the limited project provision. They are requesting a waiver to work in the no disturb because they have to cross. And I listed the quantified impacts they're proposing, but I was questioning if land underwater will have an impact as well, because if you're working right in the channel or need to de-water, it'll at least be a temporary impact. So that is going to need to be added as well. I think that's plenty for you guys to chew on, so I'll
Yep.
stop there.
Okay. So I'll start first by going around the commission. I know I took a look at the plans and so forth, so I have a couple of questions also, but let's start with the commission. Jonathan, any specific questions on just kind of this initial review of the plans and so forth?
Have any questions at this time?
Okay. Amira, any questions?
No questions at this time.
Okay. Noah, any questions?
Not right now.
And Travis?
Just a couple quick points of clarification. So under the River Protection Act, if this lot is a post 96 lot, if I'm reading it right, then you can't exceed that 10% alteration without some sort of mitigation that offsets the impact. So just want to emphasize that it looks like we're exceeding that first threshold in the Rivers Protection Act.
So that just goes back to when this lot was created.
I think it
And
was
that-
post 96 based on the information that was submitted.
Okay.
And then I think we also have to maintain a 100-foot wide undisturbed buffer minus, I think there's an exemption to put in a driveway because you've got to be able to put in a driveway.
Correct.
But, and I think Leah touched on this, but there's a 25-foot no disturb on the plans, but no solid 100-foot no disturb from the riverfront area. And then, so that's another red flag for me. And then quickly, there's a reference to there are no endangered species on the property, but there's no methodology or citation for that, which is another item in the River Protection Act that has to be. So it'd be great if we just had a citation for how that determination was made.
Okay.
We probably might have some more things later on, but just
Right.
wanted to emphasize those points.
Right. And again, when you're talking about a limited project and the fact that you can access the upland to on a site that, as in this case here, has a stream going through it, that's as Leah had previously mentioned, understand that this is a little more complicated because it's a riverfront. I'm very curious to see what DEP has for comments to your point, Travis. You know, the septic system is outside the 100-foot buffer, but there is grading within there. Obviously, the driveway needs to be put in a limited project because that's how you're getting to the upland area. Those are just some of the details that need to kind of be worked out. Looking through the plans, I had a couple other minor questions, just as like the well and so forth. Obviously we do not review or approve the well itself, but my guess is you'd have to, not have any trees adjacent to the well, and you'd have to probably amend that tree line a little bit. But that's pretty minor. And again, we will defer to the Board of Health for the well permit and so forth. The same thing as far as the septic system. Looking at it, I really don't, I'm not going to make any comments on it. That is up to the Board of Health. It is outside the 100-foot riverfront zone, and outside of the setbacks from the wetlands. So I'll leave that up to the Board of Health to kind of have any comments. Some of the other comments that I was looking at when looking at the plans, some of these are pretty minor, is the fact that there's a foundation drain, which absolutely no issue. It's groundwater. It just doesn't show up where it discharges to. It just has a note on it to daylight. And again, I don't think that's a problem, but the places where you need to daylight is probably based on the elevations of, based on depending upon if it's got a basement and so forth, that you're going to be down into the 100-foot buffer zone, 100-foot riparian zone into the river. So this is not it's a single pipe and it discharges and it's discharging groundwater. I don't think it's a big issue, but it's not shown on here. We just want to make sure we identify that particular one exists, and it's in. If it was going to the rear of the lot, it wouldn't be a question. But the problem is, elevation-wise, I don't think it will work that way. The other thing I was looking at, and this is more just in reference to the access driveway, and I didn't actually scale it out, but I'm wondering what the slope is coming up it right as you exit the 100-foot riverfront zone. It looks like it's pretty steep in that area. To some of the things that Travis mentioned, as far as the stream crossing and what's exactly going on there. There's some details and so forth. They just, I think, to some of Leah's comments, they just need to have some details added to kind of understand that. To me, the biggest question still goes back to, you have a lot of work going on in the 100-foot riverfront area, and I'm really curious to see what DEP says, whether they think that is allowed under the limited project, or is that something that would have to require a variance from DEP? And if it is something that needs a variance from DEP, that's kind of got to go to DEP. We're not going to really be able to approve that, so to speak. Kind of the other issues with the crossing and with the, as far as the existing stream and the width of the culvert and so forth, and the stream crossing requirements and the depth. It does have a bottom on the culvert, usually not done with the bottom. It's usually, but they have a riverbed in there. Obviously, once we have Ecotech review this, they'll be able to comment on that. Some of the water quality swales, just looking for a little bit more detail on how that's being put together. Don't have a big issue with them. It's just want to make sure how they're being constructed so that there's no issues with erosion or anything else because of them. Those were mostly the questions that I had. A lot of more of the detailed stuff and more of getting more information specifically from DEP. It's been a while since I've worked on a limited project, so I need to refresh my memory on the regulations on what you can and cannot do for a limited project like this. Obviously, that's in place so that if you do own property, and again, there's a very specific things and to the applicant, really making sure you understand when this lot was created, it has a big impact on what you're allowed to do or not to do. So I think that's all I had, Leah. So I will give it back to the applicant and his representative to. We're not going to answer all these. We don't have a DEP number yet, so we'll have to continue. But I think it's fair to give you kind of what our initial thoughts are, just so that you understand them, and just kind of how we can work through this to make sure that it meets the requirements of the Wetlands Protection Act. So I will hand it back to the applicant.
Okay, well, I'm Bob Murphy, representing James Conkey, 21 Meadowbrook Road. Essentially, the first remark that I have is that I can see in areas where you would require additional detail. And we're prepared to give you that as far as water quality swales, specifics about the more information on the crossing itself. The footbridge, just for your information, it's existing. It's being used by the abutter. It's an old wooden footbridge. It's actually sitting on top of the stone wall. It was built on top of a stone wall that crosses over in that area. We're not contesting that or anything. We're just going to leave that alone. As far as erosion controls, I did put some of the erosion controls within the 25-foot no disturb area, mainly because of the wetland replication. We will be, scraping up the soil there, and we don't want to have erosion. If we had a terrible storm or whatever, we don't want erosion in that area. As far as timing, we do not anticipate any major dewatering requirements. The notes essentially say that we're hoping to do the work for the culvert quite quickly. The culvert crossing itself would take 3 or 4 hard days work. But again, we plan on doing that when the stream is dry. The stream has dried up a few times in the past few years, but every time it did, it was considered to be a drought, which is why we waited a few years to come back to you. We were really trying to determine if it could be, classified as an intermittent stream, and we didn't have any luck with that. It did dry up, however, it was always during a period of drought. The limited project, the idea of that was to essentially follow the regulations of a limited project where the only access to the good soil for the septic system was in the area where we did the testing. We did quite a bit of testing around the site. The more you got to the rear, the worse it got. And in the front, it was a woodbridge, a thick woodbridge soil with a heavy underlayment. And the sea horizon was very dense. We added quite a few water quality swales just to control the flow of water. We found by putting check dams, we could, enhance the flow and the quality of water entering in down toward the stream area. As far as the tree line is really taken from a photograph, and that is the tree line is the overstory of the trees. We plan on placing the well. The well is right near the edge of the tree line, but there's no need to cut down any trees or anything. We could stay away from the trunks and things like that to put the well in, and that would be something that would be noted and may require conservation approval, but we would locate it and get back to you on that. As far as the general work of the site, we're proposing to do as little work as possible to develop the driveway and the crossing, keep that all to a minority, and the erosion controls, the water quality swales. In the riverfront zone requirements, they talk about things that you can deduct, and the area used for stormwater management can be, and for replication, can be deducted from the numbers. So what I did show on the notes on the site plan was the total area was within the riverfront zone was 52,620. And then I broke that up into the inner riparian zone was 29,000. The outer was 22 and change. And then I looked at the disturbed areas, and it was, in both cases, it was over 5,000. We agree on that. The idea is that we get to deduct areas that are used for stormwater management. As far as the central area there where I show a continuous upland area and not altered, it's 2,000 square feet. That is heavily grassed right now with a lot of native grasses coming in there. And we could put in a barrier, a stone fence, snow fence or whatever. But there's no need to do any grading or anything in that area. That's pretty much the front area. As far as native vegetation, this area has not been mowed for hay for many years. And what's happening is a lot of the native shrubs are coming in by themselves, especially along the 25-foot no disturb area. So we're pretty much figuring just, to let the, things like the several dogwoods, red maples, even some white pines, things like that, let them just come in naturally. We did put a seed mix from New England seed to utilize in the grass areas. And again, that's shown the different species for that. The idea is to make the site as using as much native vegetation as possible, even in the grass areas. I don't believe that the applicant wishes to mow all this area. Their intention is really to leave a lot of it native as well. So you can have grasses, mow some of them, but they're native grasses. Trying to think, some of the erosion controls are within the no disturb area. And again, that was essentially to control sedimentation passing through from the upper areas. The driveway, the steepness of the driveway, we again did as little filling as possible and maintain a driveway that doesn't really go over 10%. And that's just a short area near the septic system. As far as the Board of Health is concerned, we originally had a plan submitted around 2020. And I talked with Nancy at the Board of Health, and she agreed that what we really should do is, have an approval from the Conservation Commission before we apply for the septic system and the well approval. And we also realized that the period of testing has expired, and that requires a extension from the Board of Health. The line, I've walked the site a couple of times the past few years. The line really hasn't changed. It's pretty much it's following the water table. There's been no alteration on this site, so the water table remains, what it is. I anticipate that you would be giving me a list of additional, questions and things like that, and we could certainly take care of that. I did have one question, and it was relative to water table. Other than the septic system, we did do a fair amount of testing in that area. The previous testing was not done by me, but it was done by some people that apparently didn't know where the wetlands were, because they were in areas that were not suitable for a septic system. But they did have high groundwater in that area as well. But we're not doing any work there. Essentially, again, as I mentioned, we're trying to do the minimum amount of work necessary to gain access to the upland property in the rear. And I guess we don't have the DEP file number, and I anticipate, hearing what DEP has to say about it as well. That will make it a lot more clearer as to what direction we should take here. With that, I'll give it back to the chair, and James may have something to say. I'll let him speak. But what I've tried to do is give you the physical engineering aspects of it.
So you mentioned about the Board of Health saying maybe you would want to wait and so forth. That's up to you guys. We're not going to tell you when to do things at all. I'm just wondering, once we get the information from DEP, is some of the grading around the septic system, whether they're going to see if that could be minimized or something, because that is all within the 100-foot buffer. And there's ways to do that. It's just that we don't want to approve something that says, hey, this is what, DEP has this comment and they want us to tighten up that slope, and there's requirements under Title V, and there's different things that you can do under Title V. You may want to just keep an open dialogue with the Board of Health if that grading east of the system needs to change. And that would be based on the amount of alteration within the inner riparian, or the 100-foot riverfront zone. And then, I will double check as far as the swales and whether that type of stormwater system is something that exempt from the disturbance and so forth. Those to me are those are some of the details we need to kind of work through. Obviously, our peer reviewer will help us through that. So I'll turn it back to James if you have any other kind of comments. The bottom line is we do need more information, and more than anything else, we need a DEP number, because we can't really do much. And then after whatever you have to say, we just need to discuss the lovely snow we're all dealing with, which kind of impacts your particular site. So James, if you have anything else to add, please do.
No, not really. Thank you all for, taking a detailed look at the plans. I think we need to get that DEP file number, any comments they have. We'll see what Ecotech comes back with for comments, and, collect that list of comments we can address and go from there.
Yep. And even though this is a challenging lot and so forth, we'll go by the regulations. And if you can make it work, then that's the way it's going to go. But we just want to make sure that we're doing our due diligence and making sure that everything, is according to the regulations, especially the riverfront, because that's a little bit more, has a little bit more constraints in it, and it has, like, as already discussed, the whole idea of the 10% or 5,000 square feet. It's a hard number in the regulations, where so many other things in the regulation, there's room to kind of look at each individual case. Riverfront's a little different, so that's why I'm eager to get DEP's kind of their comments, to see what they say and how they react to not so much the driveway going through the inner riparian, but some of the grading and that extent. So, and we'll also, be looking at that too. So, Leah, anything else to add at this point?
No, not right now.
Yeah. So, I mean, we've just, again, we're kind of a little bit in the same boat as you. We're waiting for some other input, i.e. DEP, and and from our peer reviewer, Ecotech, because I think that will help us. And then what I will do is at this point, we'll open up if anyone any of the public is looking to ask questions or anything else. I'll have Jan take a look at that to see if anyone is here, and if anyone wants to make a comment, I'll put that out there. And then I'll go around one more time to the conservation commissioners, just to see if they have, after this conversation, anything else to add. So I'll start with Travis, if you've got anything else to add.
Nothing else right now.
All right, thank you. Jonathan?
Nothing else to add here.
Yeah. Amira?
Nothing from me.
Noah?
Nothing from me either.
On the same place. And some of the details that we mentioned, those are things that just have to be dealt with. I think it's the bigger questions around the riverfront and making sure that we're all on the same page. And like what Leah's done with going through and putting all the citations, those are the key things. having read many of these sections before, trust me, I have to go back and read them again, and then we'll look for our peer reviewer to help us in that interpretation, and along with DEP and what their comments are. So that's kind of the next step. And again, start thinking about just the fact that we've got, I don't know, 2 feet of snow out there. To kind of do any of the updates is going to be a little bit difficult at this point in time. We can further discuss that at the next meeting. And based on the fact that we don't have a DEP number yet, we're not close to closing, I'll ask you as the applicant if you'd like to continue this meeting either to the next meeting or a future meeting. I'll leave that up to you. It's your decision. And one of the next meetings, Leah?
February 17, March 3, March 17.
So James, it's up to you if you want to wait till March or not, or we can just continue this to the 17th and see what happens and see if we get the DEP letter and so forth.
I'd say let's continue to the 17th. If there's no
Okay.
updates at that point, then we can continue from there.
All right, that sounds good. I'll go back to Jan. Was there anyone in the public that had any comments or raised their hand?
Nothing from the public.
Nothing from the public. Okay. Leah, anything else to add at this point? Otherwise, we'll
Nope.
make a motion to continue it and obviously continue to follow up. You'll get the DEP letter and hopefully Ecotech has done their review. I do not know if their review will be complete or not. And again, it's the snow. It's the weather. We can't really do much about that. Anything else, Leah?
Nope.
Okay, so the applicant has requested a continuance to the 17th, February 17th. Do I have a motion to continue?
I'll move to continue the hearing for 21 Meadowbrook to the 17th of March.
And do we have a second?
Hold on. Do we mean March or February?
Oh, I'm sorry, February 17th.
February 17th.
Okay.
Thank you. February always screws us up because it's 28 days. It's perfectly ends in 4 weeks. So thank you, Leah, for being our watchdog and catching that. So it's
No problem.
February 17th. So based on that, and
I'll
then,
second that.
then Jonathan just second that. Roll call vote. Amira,
Yes.
Noah,
Yes.
Travis,
Yes.
Jonathan,
Yes.
and I am yes, and we'll see you in a couple weeks. Hopefully you'll see me. I may not be around, but we'll see you in a couple weeks and see what information that we have based on hopefully getting a DEP number, comments, and Ecotech some input. But other than that, stay warm. Let's hope for some melting, and see you in a couple weeks.
All right. Sounds good. Thank you all.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
So Leah, up next.
We have some folks online from the team for Highfields subdivision. They are not formally listed on the agenda tonight because their certificate of compliance request is sitting in our online permitting software with a bunch of comments I had provided that weren't addressed. So we hadn't kicked it to the step of a meeting just yet, but they wanted to talk to you guys anyway. I think we might need to promote them to panelists so they can chime in
Okay.
here.
Do I
So,
need to recuse myself, Leah?
they are talking about the subdivision as a whole. So yeah, since you're a direct abutter, I mean, it's up to you and your comfort level, but it is the subdivision entirely. So
Was there anything else after this?
no,
So if I don't come back, that's okay.
correct. Unless
Do you need
Sandy
me to
says
make an
otherwise.
official declaration, Sandy?
No. If you want to recuse
'Cause you're not
yourself,
voting, right? I've
Yeah,
been
you're not-
recusing myself on all things Highfield, so why stop
I have
now?
no problem with. And you notice that I actually leave my room, so I don't influence anyone else. So the fact that if you want to step off, that's no problem at all either.
All right.
So
Well, have a good evening if I don't talk to you again tonight.
all
You
right.
too.
Thank you. Okay. Go ahead, Leah.
Okay, so they have a certificate of compliance request in for one of their file numbers, 164591, which is the main filing for the subdivision, kind of as a package deal. The conditions that I had flagged that remain outstanding, I gave the numbers, and a little summary in my report, but basically, it was signage restricting the use of sodium-based de-icers. Their engineer has confirmed via email that those have been installed. I don't have any photos or anything, but he says that they have been. The conservation restriction that is to go on the open space slash golf course area. We were working on this a while ago. It was left, at the time it was left that EEA had updated their form, standard template for a CR. So I had put it on their radar that they should make sure theirs is updated accordingly. They've done that and given us a revision that's before town council right now for another review. We also have an updated CR plan showing the limits of the open space and the bounds that went in. Another outstanding condition was for the replication that was to be done. If you guys recall, I want to say within the last year, but I don't remember the date off the top of my head. We talked through that they would do an alternative replication area because the individual smaller areas that were on the approved plan, some of them didn't happen or some of them didn't succeed. So they went ahead and turned what was essentially the old manure pit from the farm over to big wetland. So they got going on that work. They said the last plantings went in July last year, but we don't have a formal report confirming success, 75% success for 2 growing seasons. Last time I was out there, we asked for the no disturb signs to be relocated out around the edge of the whole replication area. I'm not sure if those got moved or not. I'm also not sure if erosion control has been pulled out, if they're done and stable in that area. I also put on their radar that there are 2 other filings, 164371 and 164483, that if they're ready to be done with the whole subdivision, those should be closed out as well. Every time we come to or every time we're approached by someone needing to close on a house, all of those tend to come up in title searches. So if we're closing the whole thing now, let's close all 3 filings. Couple other lingering items that you guys might remember. They had a project to realign one of the golf course holes, which resulted in a planting plan that was gonna mitigate some of the impacts. We handled that via a determination in 2024. Again, we just need the follow-up on, was that successful, 75% successful across 2 growing seasons? Are they done in that area? Is the erosion control out, similar to the replication area? And then I threw all of this to Ecotech and Graves, who have been looped in on this whole project all along. Ecotech echoed that we need to confirm the success of the wetland replication. Art also mentioned the debris pile we had found adjacent to the 16th fairway from like landscaping debris, and questioned if that's been addressed since our last visit. And Graves is working on their peer review letter and just asked about the status of some crack sealing that was left outstanding and the installation of some of the open space bounds, which weren't done last time this was on his radar. But the team has said that they are now done. They're shown on the revised CR plan. So I know that's a lot of lingering pieces that we're working through, but the team just wanted to, loop you guys back in tonight. So happy to turn it over to them if they have anything else.
Sounds good. And who's here for them?
We got
Yeah,
they're raising their hand. Joe Antonellis and Audie Osgood are on the line.
okay.
You guys should be able to speak. Give it a try.
Okay, it's Joe Antonellis. Can you hear me?
Sure can.
Yep.
Okay. I noticed a little different than what I'm used to. I don't see some of the controls that I get at other Zoom connections. But hi, how are you? Good evening to all. Joe Antonellis on behalf of McGill Associates, Inc. It's been a while since I've been in front of the board. I had asked Rob Knappich, Attorney Knappich, to pinch hit for me as I moved into what I call quasi-retirement. And I'm no longer live in the area, but I am still working as a attorney and still doing work for the McGill family. Some of you know me from past appearances, and I see that there are many new members of the commission. Rob Knappich has taken a job as in-house counsel with a firm, and so I've jumped back in, and I wanted to come to the meeting tonight just to say hello to the commission and let you know that I have been working diligently with Byron Andrews at Andrews Engineering, or it's DePreet now, to try and wrap up this subdivision, which, as you know, was started now probably close to 20 years ago. And the conservation restriction can now, I think, be properly looked at because we're done moving road bounds around and changing sidewalks and those kinds of things that were typical of a subdivision process. So Byron has completed the conservation restriction plan, which we've submitted for your review. I reviewed the old form conservation restriction, which I began working on a few years ago with the new form, and found that the major change in the new form has to do mostly with tax issues, historic tax credits, those sorts of things. I don't think they're necessarily required for what we've done. So I've tried to put that back together for you. And basically, that's really what I wanted to come. I recognize the peer review is not done. We're in the process of trying to get the final street acceptance done for the remaining part of the subdivision, and obviously to get the conservation restriction approved, as was a requirement in the original special permit. And I think the board knows that we were careful and cautious about bringing it forward too early in case we had to move something around. So that's just kind of historically where we are. I appreciate the commission's patience with us and the opportunity to just say hello again and to try and move this thing all back to final conclusion. And Leah, I appreciate your bringing up the two orders of conditions that need to be addressed that are kind of lingered out there to get those cleared up for you. And we're going to do our best to try and wrap everything up as quickly as possible. So if anybody has any questions, I'm here, and Audie's here to speak specifically about the surveying and delineations of wetlands or anything else relative to the certificate of compliance. So thank you.
All right. Thank you for that information. Leah, I have kind of one question, just looking at your list. Some of the plantings that you're talking about, making sure that it's the 75% in the two growing seasons. So whatever was done in 2024 should have the two growing seasons. What was done in 2025, you're really just looking at the spring season to see if it gets to 75%. I don't see anything else in here that specifically around the growing seasons and having the 75%. There's nothing else here that would have to linger unless you don't have the 75%, correct?
Like like a hard stop on something, you mean?
Yeah, like what was done last year in July of 2025, you have the fall growing season,
Right.
and then you'll have the spring of 2026. So that will be the second growing season. As
Correct.
long as you get to 75%, then that works. The other growing season that started in 2024. So it's again looking at the spring just to confirm it, just to kind of close and check that box and so forth. I'm just trying to see if there's anything here other than as far as the legalese and as far as, getting town council to finish review. We don't have specific control over that, but it's in process. Things like removal of, excuse me, remove the erosion control. And again, right now, that's not something you can go out and look for. We'll have to wait the snow kind of melt, but that's an easy check. I'm just trying to see if there's anything here that is like, that could
I mean,
create a problem. So,
sure. I think we should be in good shape. A lot is just weather dependent. I can't speak to Jeff Walsh's review letter, but he said, you know, things were looking good the last time we were all out there as a group. But I would just stress that we should really just try to close all three of the orders because this request came in as just 591. And it seems like the intention years ago was that 591 was replacing 371, but if you don't close it out at the registry, it just lingers. So
right.
I just don't want to see them close 591 and then we still have to issue partials for years to come. So
I,
if we're saying the whole thing's done, let's just close them all.
If I could jump in, Audie Osgood here. We did submit electronic applications for the other two COC applications. They were both, I just checked today, someone else in our office made the submissions, but they were both stopped for some reason. So I will follow up tomorrow
Okay.
with Leah or her office to find out what we didn't get right there to move those forward. But we have every intention of moving forward and closing those out as requested.
Sounds good. Thank you.
And the plantings that were done for at the old manure pond and the restoration work for hole 7 were both done in 2024 during that summer season. So should have enough time once we can see them.
Right. Let me just quickly go around the commission just to see if anyone has any specific questions on this. This is more of a discussion than anything else. And then we can kind of wrap this up. So I'll start with, and just as an FYI, one of our commissioners recused themselves, is actually not on the meeting any longer. So, Jonathan, any kind of questions?
No questions from me.
Okay. Amira, any kind of questions on what we're doing right now?
I don't have questions at this time.
Okay. Noah, anything?
No questions.
Yeah. At this point, yeah, I also have no questions. It really appears that we're coming to the end. It's just all these, thank you, Leah, for listing them all out. It makes it much easier. So, and then I'll turn it back to the applicant. If you have any other questions or comments, other than that, hopefully we can continue on and get all of these things checked off.
I just want to, again, just thank you for your patience with us. And I think we've worked diligently to try and bring all of this. And again, thank you, Leah, for bringing up those two outstanding ones. I don't want to be getting telephone calls about partial releases. I'm sure you're tired of it also. So we'd like to get them all done, and we will proceed with all due diligence to get this all wrapped up. And further, Leah, if town council has any questions or would like to discuss the restriction with me, just send me an email and I'll make myself available. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. All right, Leah, anything else? I think we're
No, that's all I have.
okay. We did the minutes, right?
Yes, we did the
Okay.
minutes first.
Sorry. Yeah, sorry. Long day yesterday, long day today. So, having said that,
I
is there
have
anything
one thing.
Certainly, yes.
So I know I'm supposed to be doing the Lake Quinsigamon Commission.
Yep.
But for the next couple of months until I'm getting married in June, until then,
Congratulations.
thank you. I have an event on Wednesday. We have a dance class on Wednesday, and that's the same day as the Lake Quinsigamon Commission. So I was wondering if someone could cover for me basically until June.
Okay.
I don't know when the next meeting is.
It's once a month, right?
Is it once a month?
I don't know. That's why I was asking you.
I don't think it's once a month.
Okay.
I think it's once a quarter. So I think it would really just be the next
less. Okay.
one.
Okay.
I was gonna say it's once a month, then I definitely have been going. but I think it's quarterly,
Okay.
because I went to the one before the last one. So I don't know if that's okay, if somebody can just,
It's absolutely okay. Probably what we'll do is we'll have Leah reach out to them and ask when the next meeting is and what's on the agenda, and see if they need representative from us. And if they do, we'll figure something out on
okay,
that one. So
that sounds good. Thank you.
yeah,
After
no problem.
June, I should be free on Wednesdays.
That's okay.
Congratulations.
Hey, certain things, there are certain life events that takes precedence over
Yeah.
other things. This would be one of them. So all good, all good. Congratulations.
Thanks, guys.
All right. Thanks for that little input there. Let's end on a happy note. Is there anything else?
Nope, that's it.
If not, I will I will ask for a motion. The last motion, please.
Motion to adjourn.
And do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you very much. Roll call vote. Amira,
Yes.
Noah,
Yes.
Jonathan,
Yes.
and I am also a yes. And Travis has recused himself and is abstaining from vote. So, having said that, hope everyone stays warm, and we should all pray for melting snow.